Hello, Mr. Lynch. How are you? I'm Marty Keegan.
Hey, Marty. Hey, Jessica.
Hi, David.
Well, I'm really excited to talk to you, as are the people on the show. And can you talk a little bit about your announcement today, talking about some intervention and ideas and concepts that you've come up with to help with what is a progression here in the country of violence with the young people, and I guess Virginia Tech is what really put you over the top and said, let's do something about it.
Right. Well, it was my experience that one of the first things that left me when I started my practice of transcendental meditation was anger. And this anger just lifted away. And it's a phenomenon just by learning the technique to dive within and experience that deepest level of life, which is pure bliss, consciousness, pure peace, intelligence, creativity. The side effect is negative things start to recede. And it is, a human being thing to experience transcending. And it is the thing that just relieves the stress and the tension, and it just will end violence.
Well, what do you think now? Let's take people back, because we want to talk about your book, because your book, Catching the Big Fish, ties into what you're doing. But you're talking about inner anger, and I think that a lot of us have it, especially artists for some reason. I think part of that is what drives us to be artists, proving type of thing. And I think a lot of people come from backgrounds in this field, that there's some kind of aberration that happened growing up. And where did you grow up, and what did you get in touch with to get past that and get more to a cleaner lifestyle and a happier lifestyle?
Well, there's a bunch of things you just said. Now,
well, you're a director. I know you can handle it.
Okay, artists, and I don't ever want to lose my edge,
right,
or energy, or believing in something, or creating something, and I don't want anybody telling me what to create. And I want to go for what I really believe in, and I want to go with gusto.
Right.
But anger isn't a driving force. Real anger is a negative thing that keeps creativity from flowing. Real anger just occupies your mind with anger, and you can't even focus on your work. You're preoccupied with this anger. That's real anger. That's not an edge. That's not energy. That's not believing in something. And that's not taking no for an answer. Anger is a thing that kills creativity. So it's a very tricky thing.
Don't you think there's a lot of artists, and I know that I'm guilty of it in the past, exactly what you said. I didn't want to get help. I didn't want to talk to anybody because I do not want to lose that edge on stage. Being a comedian, I want that edge. But there is a balancing act between who you are as a director, a writer, or actor, or comic, and who you are off stage as well, that they're two different things, that you don't have to be that 24/7.
You don't have to, that I'm telling you, I understand what they're saying. That sometimes, those things that are like out of balance and wacko is the thing that, their a comic thing comes from, or they think that their power comes from,
right,
or their angle on life comes from. But when you start meditating, those things just become more clear, the understanding of it. But the part of it that is, hurting you, and it lifts away. So the same comic would understand all those things. They just wouldn't suffer from any of it. And it's a tricky business to come around to that idea that they're not going to lose. They're just going to gain. And they're going to become more and more them. They're not going to become like every other meditator. There's no such thing. Each person is unfolding more and more and more of their unique self. and more energy and more power, more intelligence, more understanding. So they'll be able to do their thing even better. It's not like a weakness to start meditation. It's like you get more of what you want.
Well, I think that's the key word that you just said, and I think that's how a lot of people see it. They see it as a weakness. They see it as being weak, and I think you're absolutely correct. It takes a strong person to say, hey, there's something wrong. I can be happier. I can function with less anxiety and grief, and open your mind to something that will ease that without taking away that edge, and suddenly you start crying at football games, and I think your book opened my eyes to a lot of different things and reinforced other things that I have discovered in what you're saying. So how does that relate to what you want to introduce now to kids in schools? How do you think they'll receive this message of let's try something different and take yourself to a different place?
Well, I want to just go back to that one thing that we were talking about. Like if people are worried about that, you could tell them that David was worried about that big time, is to become like very, very, just sort of pacified with meditation, or like losing a drive, losing an edge. It doesn't happen. You get more of an edge, more ability to focus, and so if your belief is one thing, you just get more and more. But you this appreciation and understanding of a bigger and bigger picture comes, and so it's like I said, it's not giving up on something. Creativity flows more. Every artist wants that. The enjoyment of doing, a sense of freedom, because the negative things that are hurting you are lifting. Every artist wants that. You want to leap out of the bed filled with energy and ability to do your work in a great, blissful, fantastic, energetic, focused way.
Right.
And you want those ideas to come, and you want your intuition to grow. Intuition is the greatest tool of an artist. You want to get more intuition? Dive down into the pool of all-knowingness, this ocean within every human being. It's not giving up anything. It's gaining what you really want. And what I tell students have so much stress. Students are not happy in school. There's all kind of problems in school. And none of these surface cures are doing one thing. It's the same old, same old. If you want to change it from within. Give the students a chance to dive within twice a day in the school, or, before they go to school and when they come home. But really, it's so good when all the students are meditating together. A thing happens. The children start becoming happier from inside, brighter from inside. The stress lifts away. They start, appreciating the knowledge, and it's easier to understand. And their grades go up. Their IQ goes up. Their health improves. Their brightness, they become much more attractive. They become much more self-assured. They become what they really want to be. And they got a bright future now, and it's coming from within. No one can take it away from them. And it doesn't matter what's going on around them. It's coming from within each student.
Where is this being tried?
It's not being tried, it's being done. One day there wasn't that many consciousness-based schools. Now, because of some education tours and some other tours, more schools are saying, which is what my friend Doc Rutherford said. As soon as he met some of the students that were doing it and learned more about it, he said, I want this for my school. And now the word is spreading around. If you want, a happy school, if you want a school where kids are really, really learning in a way that isn't just like a bunch of robots where you just feed them with facts and figures, and stress the heck out of them.
You can say shit, David. It's okay. Let me say it for you. Stress the shit out of them. Yeah.
Give him this thing. And watch things. Doc Rutherford has done it in 3 schools in D.C. He had kids die in his arms. It was one of the most violent schools. They tried every doggone thing, and none of it worked. He tried this, and it worked.
Well, how do we get this into the public schools? Because you know the problems that you have with the parents, and it could be one parent.
I'll tell you how you do it. That what you just said is the key. Once they tried it, and they go to the school, and they say this is for the students, and they tell them, they want to give it to the students, and somebody from the crowd yells up and says, oh, this is a religion, or this is that. And everybody gets, wondering, and they say, well, wait a minute, maybe we don't want this, or something like this.
Right.
So what you do is you get at least some of the teachers meditating, some of the parents meditating, and some of the students meditating, and then when someone stands up and says, this is this and this is this, someone who's actually doing it can say, you know what, Jack, it's not that. It's a technique, an ancient form of meditation that's not a religion, and I feel so much better. And I've had these experiences, and this has changed. And a student says something, and a teacher says something, and people say, "Oh, we don't have to be afraid of this then." And it just starts like that.
Yeah, I think so.
And when you see the school turn around, because it's not, it shouldn't even really sort of have a name like Transcendental Meditation. It's the unified field at the base of all mind and matter that does the thing. Transcendental meditation is just a vehicle that gets you there. And once you get there, you experience that pure consciousness, and that experience enlivens it, and it grows in you. And so that field has always and forever been there. Everything that is a thing has emerged from that field. Now, ancient Vedic science has always said that. Modern science now says it. Quantum physics says it. The field has always been there. It's a field of oneness out of which all diversity comes. So any human being can go down through mind and intellect and transcend and experience that same field. It's there for every human being. We're built for that experience. And life gets better and better from experiencing it.
David, when did you adopt this philosophy or this way of life?
It's not a philosophy either, just like it's not a religion. It's a technique. When did I start doing it? Yeah. 1973, July 1st.
Now, hang on. We've got a text board here, and people are asking a myriad of questions ranging from what we're talking about to movies. Now, what they're asking is, what is the process of this meditation? So maybe you could take people through. I think when we say transcendental meditation, people hear New Age, they get nervous. It's
just the fear of the unknown.
Yeah, it's the fear of the unknown. They don't. It sounds.
Okay, I understand. Yeah. I'll tell you my personal experience because until you transcend, and by the way, everybody has consciousness. That's the I amness of life. That's what you can picture. A person without consciousness, they wouldn't know they existed.
Right.
They wouldn't know zip. They wouldn't even exist, and if they did exist, they wouldn't know they existed. Consciousness, I amness, and consciousness has so many qualities, but it's I amness, awareness, understanding. So, I realized that this phrase came along. Right. True happiness is not out there. True happiness lies within. And I would think about that phrase, and I would say, wait a minute. This phrase has a ring of truth, but they don't say where the within is, nor do they say how to get there. And one day I thought, maybe this meditation is a way to go within. And it kind of made sense to me. But I didn't know, and then I heard there's many, many different forms of meditation, and I looked into a bunch of them. And it was my sister who had started Transcendental Meditation. She told me about it.
You can always go to
But it wasn't what she told. Pardon?
You can always count on Sis. Remember that.
Yeah, and that's right. And so I heard a change in her voice. That was the biggest thing that kind of said, I said, wait a minute. And I said, that's for me. I started Transcendental Meditation, but before I did, I had doubts. I said, what is this thing? You're given a mantra. What is a mantra? And I thought, well, you know, they say a mantra is a very specific sound, vibration, thought. And Maharishi's mantras, there's more than one. I don't know how many there are. I'm not a teacher. But some people I know have, you know, they might have the same mantra, but not everyone has the same mantra.
Right.
And I look at it as blood types. We all have blood, but we don't all have the same type of blood. So if you need blood, you want to get the type of blood that's right for you.
Right.
If you got a mantra, you want the mantra that will work for you. And the teacher knows how to give you the mantra and how to teach you how to use the mantra.
So there's flexibility.
So I went down, and I got taught how to meditate. And I was told to go into a little room. I had no idea what was going to happen. I go into this little room, and it's, you know, it's a nice little comfortable chair there, and the teacher said, sit down comfortably, close the eyes, start the mantra you were just given, and inside start it. Start repeating it inside. She left. I sat down comfortably, closed my eyes, started that mantra, and as I said in my book, it was as if I was in an elevator and they snipped the cables. Just, whoa, man, oh man. And it wasn't so much down as it was out and in and all, and it was like, whoa, I'm in pure bliss. And
well, what kind of thoughts go through your head? When you start with the mantra, what is it?
And you don't try to keep thoughts out.
Just whatever.
You if something comes into the mind, you let it come in.
Right.
You just mainly just stay with the mantra. If you leave the mantra and go off on a thought, you just gently come back to the mantra, and away you go. And you'll transcend many times in each meditation. And the reason you know it is because you have that experience. And that experience, I say, the word unique should be saved for that. Mm-hmm. The experience of transcending is so beautiful, so natural. And I realized that I had that experience of transcending. Sometimes when you change consciousness, like you go from waking to sleeping, you'll go through what they call the gap. When waking turns to sleeping, there's a little bit of a gap, and you can transcend in that gap. And you'll get like a white light or a beautiful, blissful feeling. You'll say, whoa, what was that?
David, I swear to God, the best ideas I always have are when I dream, at night, and I keep a pad of paper beside the bed. I'll wake up with an idea for a line in a script or whatever the case may be, or just when I wake up, or even taking a shower. It's those quiet moments when there's nothing around and I'm just in my mind. And is it similar to that? It's not exactly. You know, I wish I could zap you and give you the experience of transcending. But you'll say, whoa. And as Maharishi says, it's experience of people when they transcend, you know, in their first meditation and the meditations that follow, they just want to say, thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's so beautiful. And then those ideas will flow just more. You'll get an idea walking, like you said, ideas come at any time. But when you experience transcending, experience that ocean of pure consciousness, you enliven it, it grows. Now your ball of consciousness is expanding. And you're able to catch ideas at a deeper level. They say there's the consciousness and then the subconscious, and below that, transcendental. So your conscious mind is expanding, so the subconscious now is becoming more and more conscious. Your conscious is taking over the subconscious. Right.
One day it's all conscious. And so your ideas, you'll have more understanding of your ideas, your energy will increase, your intelligence will increase, the flow of creativity will be smoother, intuition will grow, and you'll be banging on more and more cylinders. And you'll start enjoying the doing, because all these negative things, I call it the suffocating rubber clown suit of negativity, that clown suit will start to dissolve. And you'll realize what a heavy weight it was.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, let's go backwards for a second. And what is going on with this society in particular, where there's so much anger? And, when I was a kid and kids had a dispute, they squared off, they had a fist fight. Now kids are bringing guns to school and wiping out the whole school. And in Los Angeles, if you get in a fight, they are arresting the kids and they take them to jail if there's any kind of a fight. So what is going on now that we're supposed to be evolving as a species, and we like to think that with the technological advances and the political correctness on what we should say and sensitivity, but it seems to be getting worse. Why is that, David?
Well, you see that like technological advancements actually it has nothing to do with the inner, of us. It's
right.
It's still the outer, and it's fueling, communication so that we hear more and more bad news from everywhere, and it's just bombarding us. And in a way, it's sort of thrilling, but in other times, it's very frightening. And in the old days, we didn't hear so many pieces of bad news. So communication sort of is a beautiful thing, but it's also fueling us a higher and higher anxiety and more stress. And basically, it's stress and pressure. So, it builds up like in a pressure cooker, and it's going to explode out. And it's like there's a lot of,
and the meditation gives us a release.
It's like a release. And there's also this whole thing about being known for something. You're going to get on TV, you're going to make a big thing. There's all kind of things that feed into it. But basically, people might want to be on TV, but not that many people want to go and kill somebody. So, but it's a product of just huge anxiety, fears, and stress. And, it just can screw the mind, and you'll do crazy stuff. So if you want to relieve that, and you relieve it very quickly, it's not like you're going to get enlightened overnight, but you'll definitely take the pressure off by learning how to transcend. And it would be like, oh my golly, that's so beautiful. And it's just like, where did that, hate and anger go so fast? It's such a relief of that. Then you can really do your work, and then you can start seeing human beings as friends, and you won't have a problem with them.
Well, I think that's a great point. You're talking about seeing people as friends. Well, I think we were creating a society that's isolated. Here in Los Angeles, now West Hollywood, the big thing is everybody builds a fence around their place. Everybody's on the phone. There doesn't seem to be the interconnection of people. People are isolating into groups.
Right. We are all connected. On
Absolutely.
The surface, at this level of the unified field, where we are all one. On the surface, we're all the many. And the thing to do is enliven this beautiful field of unity amidst diversity. The problem is there's a whole lot of diversity and very little light of unity. So when you learn to transcend, it's like ramping this light up on a big dimmer switch, brighter and brighter and brighter. And what happens, we are like light bulbs. We glow within, but that glow proceeds outward. So the more negative we are, we're hurting ourselves within, and we're spreading a negative thing in the environment. reverse of that is ramp up more and more and more bliss inside, more and more intelligence, creativity, real dynamic peace inside, and you'll broadcast that out. And people will love being around you, and you'll get, more and more and more support of nature. You'll get, more and more friends, more and more chicks falling in love with you. It's
nice.
A beautiful, beautiful
thing. Say that again, and I think we got everybody on board. Well,
the real secret is what we love is this consciousness. You can have a very, very beautiful girl, but there's something wrong. She's not glowing. You can have a rather plain-looking girl who's glowing, who is far more beautiful than this, knockout who's gray and not glowing.
Well, absolutely. I was at a party and Paris Hilton was there, and she's so, for me, vapid. There's nothing there, and you start looking at her, and the more you look at her, you try to figure out what other people are finding attractive, and then you'll see another.
Well, let's get Paris meditating.
Let's get her. Yeah, I'm with you. Get her out of the clothing stores and a little bit more time meditating. You cut into your gap time. Talk about gap time. A little less time at the gap. A little more time in the inner self would be good. Yeah, in the great gap. Now, well, I think this is a good lead-in, too, into talking about your films, because the great thing about your films, for me, and the way that you think, is that you're very non-linear. And you zig and zag when people are expecting you to go off in a different direction. And what we're talking about, I think, is impacting the entertainment industry, where you see these very nondescript movies with no voice, no message, nothing of interest for a thinking person whatsoever, and it's being crammed down the throats of the public, and the public's tastes are being dumbed down to the point where it's frightening. People cannot sit through a 3-act play anymore because there isn't an explosion in the middle of it.
I understand. There's room in the world for all types of, film, and things go in waves. I feel that what we call the Hollywood blockbuster, that phenomenon is gently coming to an end, and there'll be a new kind of cinema coming, but it doesn't really matter. What matters is that we have the freedom to do what we really believe in, and the freedom to let our own unique voice ring out, and the freedom to do our work. And the real freedom lies within. The real power lies within, and the real creativity lies within, and anybody in the world, any human being can access that, unbounded ocean within. And this ocean of unity, the unified field, is the key to our peace on earth. So if if your listeners are interested in transforming their lives and transforming this pretty sick planet, then they should get in touch with David Lynch Foundation, davidlynchfoundation.org, and let's work together and get some change.
Absolutely.
Real change. The word real is kind of critical. It's not a surface change, a change from the unified field at the base of all matter and mind, where everything comes from, our home, our self. And this field has many, many names. It's been known throughout time, and it's there for us, and it's a real thing. The rest is pretty much an illusion. This is the real thing.
David, what I respect about you and what you're doing is that you're out there, you're doing it, you're creating it, and it's not for your own ego. It's really to help people. And we live in a town, especially Hollywood, where so many celebrities get involved with things just to put their names out there and get publicity for themselves. And then when the pictures, the photographers go away, so do they. And you're not doing that. You are here educating people. You put out a beautiful book, Catching the Big Fish: Meditation, Consciousness, and Creativity. away, and you're really getting involved, and you're asking people to get involved with you, and you're not going away when the cameras go away. And I think that's really a credit to you and your versatility as a person.
Thanks a lot, Marty. It's really, for me, it's money in the bank. Like you said, I wouldn't stop meditating for anything. I've seen the way all the work is improved, and that, like I said, the joy of doing the work is increased. Energy and focus and intuition is increased. So it's great for the artist, and the artist shouldn't be afraid of losing one little thing. The big loss is not doing it. That's the joke. They can stay the same way. They can stay with the same little ball of consciousness and their anger and think they've got an edge. Or they can jump in and expand everything and just get the whole thing.
And you go to a place where you're in touch with new emotions, which enable you to write even deeper, richer characters, because you're in touch with emotions that were shut off before. Am I not right?
Yeah, the understanding of emotion. You know, you want to get the surface of the emotion, the middle of it, and the depth of it. The depth might be hiding. You expand that container of consciousness, and then there it is.
Right.
There it is. All the secrets,
now,
are revealed.
We have Angie Caro is on the board asking if do you go for the glowing beauty versus the it girl when you're casting roles in your films?
Andy's asking this?
Angie Caro, correct.
I would, basically prefer that it would all be in one, the glowing and the beauty.
Well, you did.
Girl.
I would
Laura
for
Dern.
sure go with the glowing.
You got Laura Dern. She's beautiful. And now, if you don't mind, I would like to just read the introduction in your book, because I thought it was very powerful and inspirational. Ideas are like fish. If you want to catch a little fish, you can stay in the shallow water. But if you want to catch the big fish, you got to go deeper. Down deep, the fish are more powerful and more pure. They're huge and abstract, and they're very beautiful. I look for a certain kind of fish that is important to me, one that can translate to cinema. But there are all kinds of fish swimming down there. There are fish for business, fish for sports. There are fish for everything. Everything and anything that is a thing comes up from the deepest level. Modern physics calls that level the unified field. The more your consciousness, your awareness is expanded, the deeper you go towards this source, and the bigger the fish you can catch. My 33-year practice of the Transcendental Meditation Program has been central to my work in film and painting and to all areas of my life. For me, it has been the way to dive deeper in search of the big fish. In this book, I want to share some of those experiences with you, which I just think is a beautiful sentiment and real, and I ask people to go get this book, which breaks things down into very easy to understand principles, so you're not sitting there scratching your head having to read the same paragraph 6 times saying, what is he talking about? It's very easy to understand, and I think it will really take people to a great place, no matter what their profession.
You read that so well and commented on that so well, Andy. Marty, thank you so much.
Oh, absolutely. Now, do you have time to answer a couple questions people have?
Yeah, I'll do a couple.
Okay.
Bobby's here telling me I've gone over my half hour.
Oh, okay. Well, if you've got to go, I don't want to.
I want to answer a couple of questions.
Okay. Well, they're asking what happened to the missing scenes from Blue Velvet.
Okay, Blue Velvet had a couple of scenes. They weren't missing. They were scenes that were cut and that didn't end up in the film, because a film wants to feel correct as a whole. And even though I love these scenes that were cut, they didn't fit. They didn't feel correct in the whole. But I went looking for those scenes, one in particular. It was a scene that occurred before Frank, Dennis Hopper character, went to visit his friend Ben. And I found out that those scenes have been lost.
Wow.
They're gone.
Wow.
Aww.
All right. Well, that's unfortunate, but it's still a great film. The other question is, what was your inspiration for Wild at Heart?
My inspiration for Wild at Heart was Barry Gifford's book of the same title. Barry, as I say, said in interviews at the time, Barry writes seeds. He writes very short chapters. And I read his book, and some of those seeds started sprouting, and I realized when I wrote the script in 2 weeks, I did a rewrite in the next 2 weeks, so in 1 month I had the whole thing, and I told Barry, I said, I'm worried that I'm being true to your book, and he said, David, there'll be two versions, my version of Wild at Heart and your version of Wild at Heart, and he encouraged me to let those seeds that he planted, sprout and grow into, what became the film Wild at Heart.
Wow. All right. And I want you to know I saw Inland Empire, and I had to check. It's like a Rubik's Cube. I wasn't sure about my IQ after I saw the movie. And then I saw.
I'm sure your IQ is very good, Marty.
But I enjoyed it. I enjoy your work very much. And you should know that here on the board, people are saying that they're going to try the meditation. People are saying they're going to buy the book. And that they've thoroughly enjoyed listening to your ideas and concepts.
Well, very good, Marty. I really appreciate you talking to me.
Oh, it's very good for you to come on. You're welcome anytime, and I will talk. Hopefully, I'll meet you sometime.
That sounds really good.
Thank you, David.
Well, let's get going on peace, and thanks again.
You got it. Bye-bye.
Okay, see you guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.